Welcome to Talkin Tires, the podcast that delves deep into the world of tires. Join us as we explore everything from the science behind the manufacturing to the latest innovations in tire recycling. Our aim is to provide you with a comprehensive understanding of tires, including how they work, how to maintain them, and how to dispose of them responsibly. Whether you're a seasoned mechanic, curious car enthusiast, or an avid recycler, Talkin Tires is the perfect podcast for anyone who wants to learn about the essential component of the modern vehicle and heavy equipment. So buckle up and join us for an informative and engaging journey into the world of tires. Welcome to another episode of Talkin Tires. I'm Craig Hunter, your host, president of Tire Reclaim. I'm here with Jay and Merlin, and we're going to do a little tour of our new facility we're super excited about from Jomar Machining and Fabrication, and we're here to tour it for the first time and talk a little bit about how it works. Jay, why don't you tell us a little bit more about what we're going to do today?
Well, today we're going to be walking around, checking out our new tire shredding machine, and Merlin's going to tell us about some stats and some throughputs and how much power it all has, so it's going to be pretty exciting.
All right. Well, then let's go for a walk. I was able to learn a little bit more about the company, and it got started way back in 91 and 96. Then Intech got started, and then there was a buyout in 2007, and just all one big happy family there in Middlebury, Indiana. So you've been there from the beginning, right? You, your brothers, Lamar and Buster. And tell me a little bit about that experience there in Middlebury.
We started as a small job shop, just welding anything that came in the door in 1991. And Dad and brothers actually were in it like a year before I got started. And it's probably about 8 years before Buster got into it. And yeah, we worked for Levon ever since he started his own company. We were building little conveyors and little this and little that. And then Levon wanted to build shredders, and we didn't want to get into the computerized equipment, so we opted to sell in 2007. We opted to sell, and then it just snowballed from there.
It blossomed from there, right on.
Yep.
That's a good story.
Yep.
So I'd say that, well, I hate to steal this, but Merlin, you're the magician, so you're the boots on the ground. Obviously, they have a lot of trust in you to be out here and organizing something like this. So I know Buster wanted to make it out, but he wasn't feeling well. So shout out to Buster. Man, that is a hard-working dude right there, and I'm sure a lot of what's being built or put together here has his hands on it. So we thank him and Lamar. And
we have a really good crew back at Jomar that work really hard putting this all together. So everybody works together to make it happen. It's not just one person.
That's great.
So what do we got behind us, this first piece right here? What does it do?
First piece is the TC 500 in-feed conveyor. So we call it our bulk feeder. We can dump bulk tires in there with a skid loader, a front end loader, or whatever. And it'll take it up the conveyor, go inside to the TC 500, which stands for Tire Chipper 500. Two 250 horsepower machines, motors that shred the tires up into a 3-inch chunk.
I love it. I love it. So there's a lot of customers that have tires and chips, and I see this one's guarded, so we could potentially load 2 different types of material on this conveyor, right?
Correct. Some people do a single pass, and then that's basically a tire cut in half, and then they also feed that in there. But it'll take anything. We got side skirting on it, so it'll take any type of tire chip you can put in there.
Yeah. I'm super impressed with everything you guys built. So you built all these back in Indiana, correct?
Correct.
And tell us a little bit about your workforce there.
We have 85 people working there. Anything from machining, sandblasting, and painting, just basically whatever it takes to build the whole thing. We have robots.
All built in the USA?
All in the USA.
I love it. I love it. It's a very well-built machine. Looks like it's very maintainable also.
Yes.
So it's not going to be too hard to change any parts or pieces on it in the future. So
everything you see here we have in stock at Jomar. So
I love it. That'll be good. So less downtime with Jomar.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe we'll head up and see the chipper now. We're up here at the chipper now, Merlin, can you tell us a little bit about this thing? What kind of horsepower does it have? And
it's 500 horsepower. It's two 250 horse motors, one on each end. It has two shafts. We can show you where the tires go through. And
in the last 3 weeks, you guys putting this thing there, I noticed that there's no hydraulics anywhere that I can see. Why is that?
We tried hydraulic machines. Back in the day, they were good because we didn't have the VFD technology for forward and reverse.
Okay.
So now with the VFD technology, the VFD will take care of everything. And
so it's about it getting stuck, and it can go backwards and go forwards, and it can monitor all that kind of stuff. And of course, we won't ever have any leaks because there's no pressurized hoses or anything like that to go bad.
Anytime you go through a mechanical or hydraulics or whatever, you lose a little bit of power. So you lose more power going through hydraulics than you do with the gearboxes.
I love it. I love it. So these rollers in here, pretty large. How much does one of them weigh? How many teeth does it have?
I think we have 27 teeth, and they're about 2 3/4 inches wide.
So tell us what this thing does, Merlin.
The TC and the TG have the same base frame. Everything's the same horsepower. Everything looks the same. The parts are interchangeable. So the chips from the TC are going to be 3 to 4 inches depending on screen size. They'll come into this machine. Then it'll have to go through like an 1.1 screen. And then once it goes through the 1.1 screen, it'll land onto a vibrating table and then a 4-foot magnet, and that's our first wire rubber separation, the 4-foot magnet. Then the good stuff will go into the rod. That'll have to go through a 3/16 to a 1/4 inch screen, and then it'll go through across an 8-foot magnet, and then it'll go out for good wire. Then there's a portion of it that'll get returned back into the loop and come back in and ground down a little bit further.
So that would be what a lot of folks consider a TDA or a TDF product. You can have a 3/4 or 1 inch, somewhat wire-free, not completely wire-free.
Correct.
After this stage, right?
Correct.
So you probably had machines set up throughout the country that maybe just go this far to make TDF? Yeah.
Yes. Each machine we have separate in different locations, but it's coming to where if the customer's in the business, they see they need to get rid of the rubber, so they grind it on down further to TDF or to like the 1020 or whatever. So
right, the finer stuff. And then we'll move on to the cracker mill in a moment. Just wanted to point out that this is also a diversion area where we can divert 3/4 to 1 inch material and still liberate the steel being offshoot another direction, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
This machine will always liberate your steel. You can't.
A lot of it.
You can't bypass
The
that.
majority of it.
Correct.
Right.
And that's all underneath us, the big
Correct.
magnet and the shaker table.
Yeah.
Merlin, I noticed that big, gigantic bin right there. Can you tell us what that bin's for and the purpose of it?
The bin's for surge, so if you back a semi-trailer up to the in-feed conveyor, you know, you can unload it really fast, and then you can fill that bin up. And then the TG is more of a consistent, it wants consistent feed.
Is there any other
running.
reasons why you guys have that bin there?
100% for surge capacity.
For
Okay.
just a little lag time to get
Correct.
that truck
Correct.
unloaded.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Otherwise, you'd have to have a tire stacked literally 6 inches apart consistently all day long, every day. We have one machine at our sister company that does that, but nobody else does that. Everybody wants
Does it
to
just
do
not
bulk
even
feed.
have that bin, or?
We literally have like underneath, we probably have 500 pounds capacity at our NTEC location.
I love it.
I like this system set up pretty nice.
On this side, I'm starting to see a lot of ducting work. What is all that for?
You'll always have fiber when you do car tires.
Okay,
So it's
car
strictly
tires.
to pull
Okay.
out the fiber and the very fine dust, so it doesn't get all over the building and all over the floor.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Should we move on? Okay, we're standing on top of a red piece on our catwalk, and it's a bin, a storage bin. Merlin, can you tell us what that's about?
The storage bin is again for surge from the TG into the cracker mill. So we want a little bit of surge. The cracker mill always likes to run with a full head on it. So we want surge in the bin. And right behind us on the right side, there's another bin where we can supplement into if we don't have enough feed from the TG.
Oh, okay. And we could also still run this side if we want to change out a shredder roller, right?
Yes, you can put it in the surge bin right behind us.
Okay, yeah.
Or the in-feed bin.
And just keep going if we need to.
Correct.
That's really cool ingenuity and engineering there.
Yes. Have everything set up where you can run. The TC and the TG are tied together, but these two can be separated with how you do your augers.
I love it.
I wanted to take a moment and point out this beautiful catwalk we've been walking around on. So this is not standard equipment, right? So if you get a pan over here, guys, you can see all of the catwalk basically moving through all the equipment, and gives us a nice bird's eye view of everything. You don't see those every day, do you, Merlin?
They're not all tied together, but we all have some catwalks. But tied together and being able to walk on top through all the machine, very few customers have that.
It's exciting.
Pretty complex process, the cracker mill. Can you explain to us a little bit about how you guys came up with that idea to
The
accomplish
cracker
such a
mill
small
is
piece?
like an old terminology that they used to use at the paper mills, and it's basically two big rolls that have really tight tolerances. The one roll is going a lot faster than the other roll, and therefore it has to go through there and kind of rip it apart, create friction. We have a 250 horse motor on the fast roll and a 125 horse motor on the slow roll.
Okay, so they're two different
Then we
powers.
have a water chilled. It gets really hot in there because of the friction, so we water chill the rolls inside. And we have an infrared temperature in there that checks the temperature, surface temperature of the rolls, and it adjusts the water valve according. There's an analog ball valve for the water that adjusts how much water we want, and how cool or
Okay,
how hot
that's
we
what
want
that
to
big
run the
white
rolls.
radiator thing is back there.
Correct.
So,
I think that's an important thing to point out for Jomar and the relationship with Milligan and Intech is I bet you can remember adding a lot of these features like, oh, we need to cool that, or there's no way that's getting way too hot. And then you send it down the road, what is 6-minute drive over to Levon's place, and he runs it for the weekend or whatnot, or maybe you drive down there and install it. That's
we
a
always
great
install his equipment.
Yeah.
On the sister.
So you guys are essentially building the car and testing every single feature of it.
all right
And
there
then
in the same town. And
you,
then it's
you
nice.
make it better every year.
But what I was getting at is that I think you could probably remember a lot of these stages when you talk about it. I was like, oh, I remember that. They used to catch on fire all the time, or this or that, right? That's pretty cool.
I pretty much remember every step. And the first phase was, of course, the shredders and the TG, and I basically was there from day one. And Levon had me stand up there hours on end to see what was happening, to make adjustments, and that's how it evolved of where we're at.
I love it.
Another fun fact about Merlin, he did all of the wiring, the design, the install, this current machine, as well as basically launching Jomar. So I told you we want to run with the magician, and it seems like you keep proving it true.
We're at the next section. We got this big blue table. Merlin, can you tell us a little bit about it?
This here is a piece we buy in from Rotex. It's called an Apex screener.
Okay.
And it is a really quick change screen. Literally in 10 to 15 minutes, you can change the screens.
Really? Is it down?
Yep. Go down and out. So it slides out like that.
Wow.
This is your screen.
Cool.
So that's what are the balls for?
The balls will bounce around.
Agitation.
They'll go bounce around, and then they'll unclog the holes. The holes get clogged, and the balls will bounce up and unclog them.
That is really something. Really something.
All right, Merlin, you want to tell us a little bit about this piece here?
Yes, so the last piece you seen was the Rotex screener that was purchased. These two are Forestberg, D-Stoners, which we use also for fiber collection. And yes, they actually painted it red just for us. So that was very nice of them. And there's a little shaker screen in there. The stones go through the bottom and the air goes up through the top. It lifts the rubber up and the stones come out the top. Out the bottom, the good rubber comes out this way and the fiber goes up through the air system. Very unique piece of equipment. So these two pieces we just talked about are the only purchased items in the whole plant here.
So you don't build everything?
Not quite.
And you couldn't get those guys to paint that one blue?
We haven't tried.
I see it says magnet up there. What's that all about?
We purchased that drum magnet too.
Okay. So everything passes by that magnet too to get the last little bit of steel wire off.
He wasn't busting you on the fact that you bought that. He was just saying
yeah,
he wanted you to know.
Above the cracker mill, there's a magnet. But you see a whole bunch of these little drum magnets kind of all over the place. So the drum magnet is a round piece that's always spinning, and then there's a magnet inside we can adjust, and it sticks to this drum, and the wipers bring the wire out the back, and the wire drops out the back.
So it constantly cleans itself?
Correct.
Really?
That's basically how we get all your wire out of your system, is with drum magnets.
That's super impressive. Let's head on up to the last piece. There's a lot of technology going on here just to get stuff into a bag. Can you explain a little bit of that to us, Merlin?
Yes. So you have augers. We've got 3 baggers in a row. So you have an auger coming up to the scalper. The augers tend to ball up your fiber into little balls, which your customer does not like to see. So the balls will bounce across the top of the holes and get sucked out into the cyclone. And then below that we have a surge bin where we can also fill, so a bagger guy doesn't have to stand there 24 hours a day. He can fill a bag and then wait till the bin is halfway full to change a bag or whatever he needs to do, because he has 3 baggers to maintain.
So we have 3 baggers, but we can essentially have 6 bags before we have to change anything, and it'll shut down, essentially.
Correct.
So that's really cool, because I mean, we do across the street we do catalytic converters. It's all manual, but if we want to change a bag, you got to sweep it out, stop what you're doing, take the bag off, because we don't have a second surge bin. So that's super cool, the technology you guys have here. So
very efficient.
And then looks like we can change these screens, so if customer has a different size.
Correct. We have 3 different sizes, so you're going to have 3 different screens.
I really appreciate you coming and walking around with this Merlin. I know it's not easy to get behind a couple of cameras and talk about what you've built here, but we do appreciate you and your brothers and basically all the, you say 85 men and women over there keeping it going, and it's a great piece of equipment. We can't wait to break it in.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys too, and you've been the best group that we've ever worked for. So
you don't say that to every customer, do you?
No, we don't.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's a lot. Thanks for saying that.
Thank you.
Thank you.